want to get into Q&A. That's really what I came here to do. So can you Q&A people stand up? Oh, Mr. Jeff Jarvis. What an honor.
So Gary, you did a brilliant job.
Say your name.
I'm Jeff Jarvis.
Yes.
You did a brilliant job selling Crush It.
Thank you.
I have a book out. I didn't do such a brilliant job, even though you're in it. How should I sell my book?
You should hire me. You know, Jeff, what I did with Crush It was literally ridiculous, right? Like, you know, it's kind of hard not to sleep for 7 months. You know, so I can respect that.
That's fatherhood, Gary.
Yeah, you know, listen, I don't know. I think a lot of what sold Crush It happened before the release of Crush It. I think one other thing I did was I didn't listen to any publisher, and I started selling it 6 months before it came out. You know classic publishers are like, wait for the release so you get all those impact sales. It goes to the New York Times list or what have you. I was like, screw that. I did that with my wine book, and it didn't work as much. I started selling it very early, and, you know, experience-based stuff. I was very successful with things like, buy 100, and I'll do, you know, an hour consulting, or 35, and, you know, I'll make a video, or 500, let's have dinner, 1,000, you can watch the Jets game with me, which was a bad decision for that person. You know, like, you know, I think people want experience. Content is cheap. You know, experience is going to get very powerful. I didn't expect growing up for Patrick Ewing to ring my doorbell and be like, thanks, man, for liking the Knicks. Or Milli Vanilli to, you know, hit me up on my pager to thank me for buying Blame It on the Rain, right? But, you know that fucking shit was legit. But, there's a lot of Bengals fans that kind of think it's very possible for Chad Ochocinco to say hello. And there's definitely fans out there of Lady Gaga that expect a little love maybe on her Facebook page. We're going to a different level of interaction, and the people that are going to give it are going to win, because that's what has value now. Experience and interaction has enormous, enormous value now. Because content, there's a lot of it out there. People are not buying things for content, because there's a lot of quality content for free, you know? But experience has enormous value, and I think you should really give that a lot of thought. Because I'll come over to your house and eat dinner with you. For like $6. Thanks, Chef. What's up, man?
Hey, Gary. So I've got...
Dude! What's your name?
Ben.
Ben what?
Ben.
Nice.
Thanks.
Ben Gay?
I'm curious. I'm not. I'm married.
Come here. Hey, if we come to South by, we're gonna blow it up. I told you Q&A is where it's at. Ben.
He took my wallet.
Go ahead.
All right, so Gary.
Yes.
There's a guy I know. He was a lawyer. He was miserable. He blogged about baseball because he loved it, and his blog blew up, and he got picked up by NBC. Now he's the baseball blogger at NBC. Like, it's a great story about being passionate about something, doing it because you love it. And I wanted to know if you'd heard what's your favorite story here at South by Southwest, if you've heard something like that. That's what my question was.
Yeah, thanks, man. There's been a lot of people. I mean, you know, now Crush It's a little mature, so it's a couple months in and people are actually crushing it and things are happening. You know, there's a beer blog by my friend Eric who was passionate about it, who just landed a $60,000 endorsement deal. You know, I mean,
Baby?
You're welcome. It's getting very interactive. You know, I think I'm getting a lot of stories. You know, what I want people to understand is that not everybody's gonna, you know, first of all, I want nobody to quit their job. I get this email 8 times a day, like, Red Crush It, quit my job. And I'm like, no. You know, because, you know, people have mortgages and people have, you know, college tuitions. I mean, I'm very practical about this. This isn't some secret 2.0 bullshit. You know, you need to work. What I'm passionate about, and you guys know, is stop watching, you know, Lost and stop playing Wii and all that stuff. You can cut in some hours in the back end if you're unhappy. If you're happy, honestly, if you're happy, do your thing. I don't give a shit what you do. If you mug women at night and you're happy, do it. I'm serious. I am. No, but you kind of see where I'm going. The fact of the matter is, I want people to do what they love, because what I think we're totally disrespecting is the internet itself. Internet's 15 years old, hasn't had sex yet, and totally dominates newspaper, print, radio. This platform is a baby. Gowalla and Foursquare and, you know, Facebook and Twitter and Tumblr and Venmo. These things get the credit, but it's the internet. It's the internet itself, the web, whatever you want to call it. I got corrected somewhere. You know, this platform is so massive, and it was never practical, ever, to build a business around what you loved while you worked a standard job. Because you weren't going to open a coffee shop while you're working as a paralegal from 9 to 7. We're going to be open 8 to 9 p.m. It was not practical. But back to Jarvis's thing, though content is harder than ever to, you know, monetize against, which is why so many people are struggling, it's never been more valuable. I don't give a shit what you do, you need to be in the content game. Because content is the cost of entry to get those flies into your world. It's a huge play, and I'm just thrilled that this is real. It's absolutely real. There's an enormous amount of low-hanging fruit, and people are going to start eating those grapes. Yes, sir.
Hi, Gary. My name's Anthony. I didn't read your book, but okay. I listened to the video, the audio, and I thought it was, I liked the insight, because a lot of stuff that you talked about in the book, you said, okay, since you bought the audio, I'm going to go a little bit different, you talked a little bit more. And how did you come about that, and what made you come up with that idea? Because I thought it was incredible, you know, that little insight you had besides that.
Yeah, so, thanks, Anthony. So, you know, my publisher was like, we're going to release an audio with the book. And I'm like, oh, I should read that. People might like that. And so that was my first thought. But then I was like, wait a minute. Let's do it in like December or January, because so much will change, right? I mean, in Crush It, I'm like, oh, Flipcam better be careful, because I bet you the iPhone might get a camera. You know, I mean, like, you know, shit changes so fast. So I was like, so I really just gave a lot of thought. I thought there'd be an enormous opportunity for me to riff off of the reality of the new marketplace. And so I think every book that talks about technology should come out with audio 6 months after their release. It's a second revenue stream. Your product's going to be much better. And if you're ridiculously charismatic and awesome and you can go off the script, off the hip like I do, you'll dominate.
Oh, yeah. You made some of my long drives the best. I was cracking up so hard a couple of times. I just, you know,